throw that out the window. You can do whatever you want. And if you live at Yale Parkside or you know that neighborhood and you're comfortable and that's where you want to start, work that neighborhood. I tell people, start the neighborhood you live in and make sure that is in your farm, because it's what you know best, right? But then pick out something else that's a step above that. So if you're in a neighborhood that's 600,000, market your neighborhood, but then pick a secondary market that's 800,000, 900,000. So you are growing your business and your price point at the same time. You're doing things today to pay your bills, but you're also planning for the future. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. You had said basically, if you don't have what you're looking for the market, I just wanted to make sure that that's what you're talking about is when you say call the other agents.
You can.
Okay.
You can call someone like that and ask them if they have a pocket listing or aware of anything coming on the market, or if they've had a listing that's temporarily off market or it's been canceled. You know, I see your client didn't sell, wasn't successful and didn't sell. Would they consider an offer?
Okay.
I have a buyer looking for this type of property.
Okay.
And then they will go back. You can legally contact that seller directly, but I never do, because I believe in our code of ethics and doing the right thing. And if that agent had a listing for a year and it didn't sell, can I contact that seller directly? Yes. But if I have a ready, willing, and able buyer, I'm going to go through that agent. They have the relationship. That's going to be the quickest, smoothest path to getting the deal. If that agent's like, oh, they hate my guts, it was an awful experience, you don't want me to call, I will call her right to them. And sometimes that happens. Yeah. You know, you don't sell it and you do everything right and the client loses confidence because they wanted to sell, they needed to sell. They forget that you recommended a market price and they overpriced it. Oh, yeah. They forget that you recommended a price reduction at week 6 and they didn't do it. You know, and so that's why when you end a listing, you make sure that you recap. These were the things that we did. These were my recommendations. You know, if you'd like to revisit a sale in the future, I would again recommend pricing it at market within 5% of the current selling price, no more than 5% more. I'd recommend if we're not in escrow by day 45, we revisit a price reduction. I recommend we paint the lime green living room wall a neutral color, like I recommended. I recommend we remove all the family photos in the house and depersonalize. You just recap all of your positive recommendations that they chose not to do. Because when they're reading that, it neutralizes a lot of that they've forgotten. That, oh, he is a really great agent. He suggested all these things and boy, we didn't listen. And by not listening, we didn't sell. So it's just a good tool to help you recap. That 411 sheet is on page 18. So you can, this is in the form, so I can help you find it if you don't know where to locate it. But this gives you under week 1 some examples of types of activities you could use when you're creating it. It looks at how you're using your goals. So for the annual goal, it said you want to add 2,400 contacts to your database. That looks like an overwhelming goal, but when you think about it, that's just doing my daily 10-4. Because if I just do my 10 a day, I've got 200 a month, I've got 2,400 for the year. So again, it all drills back to the one thing you're doing, which is daily 10-4. Okay, any questions? All right, yes.
I have a friend who works at Rosario Realty, and
yes.
He's kind of been complaining about the same thing I had at my last firm, which is he's not getting this kind of stuff. And I'm also interested in maybe bringing him in as his sponsor, so I can do some profit sharing.
Yes.
Can I bring him to, like, the thing that he's constantly complaining about also is Paragon? Can I bring him to Marion Holler's Paragon class?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. That he doesn't, you know, even while he's still working for Wailea Realty, I can bring him with.
We're an open book company and we support all agents in our market.
Okay.
So that many times is what brings people to the company. They come in and they experience a learning opportunity and they see how open we are, and suddenly they're like, wow, I don't get this in my company. This is where I want to be.
It's a Costco free sample, basically.
Basically. So all I ask that you do is that you register that person for the class.
Okay.
And if you're talking to Latasha or whoever, that you're registering this person as your guest, and let the instructor know either ahead of time or at the beginning of the class, hey, I've invited so-and-so to come and join this class to learn about our training opportunities.
Okay.
And I'm trying to recruit them.
Okay. So register with Latasha and tell the instructor.
Yep, we just want to know like how many people we're going to have in the room.
Okay.
And then everyone is always welcome to attend. When we offer our Bold classes once a year, we invite agents from other companies to come to Bold. They have to pay the same as we pay, which is about $800. But it is the most intensive, most productive training you'll take at Keller Williams. I've taken it 4 times, take it every year. Last year I took it twice, and it will catapult your business. Last summer I took it, we held it here in Kihei, and I had 6 closings in August, and we took the class July and August. Because everything in Bold is doubled. So you're not doing 10 contacts a day, you're doing 20. You're not doing 10 cards a day, you're doing 20. It's like the daily 10-4 on steroids. So once you master that and start thinking now, Bold is coming in June, you can set it up with the Market Center Administrator, Brenna, to deduct a little bit out of each of your closing towards that. They'll let you make payments. So if you don't have any money, don't think, oh, I can't go. Talk to Lisa. We also offer some scholarships. So members of our ALC will sponsor someone to attend Bold. So if you want to attend Bold, come see me, come see Lisa. We will somehow make it happen for you, either through payments or helping you deduct it in advance or whatever we need to do.
I just need to say something.
Okay.
I've been around this block a lot. I've been in South Maui for 13 years, South Maui, okay? Nobody does this, nobody. So it's not like Wailea Group does it and Wailea Realty doesn't. This is the only place that does this. I've seen it, I've seen Wailea Group, I've seen Wailea Realty, I've seen what they do at other places. Nobody does this stuff. Nobody does this stuff. That's why I came.
Mm-hmm.
So you can rest assured, you can tell your guy, hey, here, I want you to look through this. Look through, show him, just hand him this.
Yeah, but you made them that one, just a copy of this that gives you some examples.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a whole KW class that's just about business planning that Randy does with time blocking and business planning. And it talks about how to create your schedule and how it feeds into your 411.
Isn't that on Thursday, actually?
I think he's offering it this week, yeah.
I'm planning on going to that.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is don't feel like, oh, somebody else is doing it. Nobody else is doing this. Nobody.
And the great
That's
thing
why I
about
think-
this is the people who are teaching the Ignite series, all of us are volunteering our time. Nobody's being paid to teach these classes. We decided as a leadership group that this is how we're gonna share our knowledge and develop our team, is through teaching. When you teach something, you learn it better, you use it more. Todd is teaching and he's a rainmaker. I mean, here's someone who has taken his business and in 2 years completely blown it up from a good agent to now leading $1 million team in a year. So, I mean, and that's income, not gross sales, $1 million. So, it's blown it up. And everyone in this room can do that. And he didn't do anything special. He didn't recreate the wheel. He followed the steps. He just did what's in the book. I call the book the Bible. And when you were looking at the book, I don't have mine with me today. It's in my office. Yes, love that. I tell people when you're reading it, highlight in one color those things that resonate with you, and in another color those things you're going to implement. So in my book, yellow is everything that resonates with me, sayings, concepts. In pink is everything I'm implementing in my business. You write in the margins, sticky note it, dovetail ear the book. I mean, it's a Bible, a manual. It should be well used. If you want a second book because you want it to be nice and pristine, come see me. I'll give you a second book you can put on your shelf. I mean, it's meant to be a manual. And that's all that our rainmakers have done is follow the steps. Anyone can do it. Okay, so leverage the MREA models. There are 4 models shown here that are covered in the book. MREA, Millionaire Real Estate Agent. It focuses on 4 areas of action to tackle in your real estate sales business: economics, lead generation, budget, and organizational. So on the economic model, it's covering knowing what your numbers, this is what you need to do. Know your numbers that you need to hit, be they daily, weekly, monthly, annually. Focus on appointments and conversions, right? And you're doing that through your daily 10-4 because your goal of that daily 10-4 is to get an appointment, which then is appointments conversions. Lead generation, you want to focus on prospecting and marketing, setting up your database, and systematically marketing to it. So like Bob has a large database at 800 people. He's calling them, he's going to email and market to them, but you also want to be doing the daily 10-4 because you want to be expanding your business as well as harvesting from your business. And you want to focus on seller listings taken. Why would you want to focus on a listing? Yes, Bob.
You can either chase the mice or you can have the cheese. If you have the cheese, the mice will come.
The listing is your cheese, and the listing is what's going to attract people to you. Because when you put it in the MLS, it's going to syndicate not only to Keller Williams' website, but it's also going to syndicate out to 300 other major websites. So people who are online looking, which most buyers start online, they're going to see your listing and they're going to reach out to you as the listing agent. When you're marketing the property via an open house, those people are coming in to see that property, but many of those buyers are unattached. One of the first questions I ask someone when they come in the house, are you working with an agent? Yes, it's a yes or no question. Are you working with an agent? No. Great. Would you mind signing into my open house log for my sellers to see who came through their home today? And then I will know I can spend more time walking around talking to them because I want to connect with them before they walk out the door because I want them to now be working with me. If they're with an agent, I say, you know what? Kevin Space is an awesome realtor. You're in great hands.
Who told you that?
Would you mind if I called Kevin today to tell him you were in? Okay? So what are you doing? You're taking control of Kevin's buyer came into your open house. I'm going to pick up the phone and call Kevin and say, hey Kevin, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, we're in today. They really liked this house. It might be a good fit for them. Would you mind checking in with them while it's fresh in their mind? And they're like, they were out at open houses without me? What are they doing?
Yep.
Yeah. All buyers are out.
All the time.
Okay. When you take a new buyer client, one of the things I do that can be helpful is I give them a stack of business cards. Usually I start with 10 or 12, and I say, you know, in our market, real estate sales is all commission based. Normally, I need to go with you if you're going to go to new construction. So if you're going to go visit those new developments, we need to set an appointment and I need to go with you. If that doesn't happen, many times the seller will not compensate me. Additionally, when you go into an open house, first thing you do when you walk in, please give them my card and say, hi, my name is Marcus. I'm working with Michelle at Keller Williams. I want to just leave her card with you. Would it be okay if I look around? That agent now knows right away that you have an agent and who your agent is. And they're going to let you look. They're 9 times out of 10 going to back off. We have some really aggressive realtors in town that it doesn't matter what you say or do, they're going to be on your client like glue until they walk out the door. But ethically, as a member of NAR, if someone says to you, I have an agent and I'm working with X, you should reinforce that relationship because we're never supposed to speak ill of another realtor, even if they have a bad reputation, even if you don't like them. Encourage that relationship. You're working with a great realtor. I'll let Bob know you're in today. That's it. But you give your buyers your cards because they will be out without you. They will definitely be out without you.
I don't know if this is still true or not, but Bob Zella told us many years ago.
Yes.
Because he gave classes on how to do an open house.
Yes.
And he said it's a National Association of Realtors statistic that of the people that bought property, not the ones that are just looking, but they actually bought a property, only 6% of them bought the property where they met their realtor.
Yes, that's true.
94% of them bought a property other than the one that the realtor was sitting at. So in other words, they're not shopping for property. They're shopping for a realtor. That's what they're shopping for. They're shopping to see if you know what you're doing or not. And if
they like you.
If they like you, and if they come into your open house and they ask you a question, you don't have to look it up. They're gonna go, whoa. You know, so yeah, I mean, if they, well, you know, there's a number of places up and down the strip here that have 3 bedrooms, but very few of them. And if you can name them off, bang, 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 bang. Wow. You know, you're gonna shock
That's all
somebody.
part of your open house preparation.
Yeah.
Whether it's your listing or another property that you're hosting, is you want to know, well, there are 3 other homes for sale in the neighborhood, but this is the lowest priced one, or this is the one that's been most recently renovated, or this one has the largest yard, or this is the only one that's not on a major street corner. Whatever it is, find the differentiating point that makes your property stand out, because that's what you want to emphasize. They are looking for realtors.
Yep.
And that's your opportunity to connect. So definitely don't have your head buried in a book or your laptop.
Watching TV.
I went into an open house.
Oh,
One of our realtors was laying on the couch with his feet crossed, like fully reclined on the couch, watching the game. And I came in and he was like, hey, didn't get up and didn't know who I was. I didn't tell him, hey, I'm your principal broker. And I was kind of mortified, you know,
Wait a minute, he didn't know who you were and he didn't get up.
Didn't know who I was, just thought I was someone coming
And
through.
didn't
Didn't get up, so he wasn't getting up for his guests.
Are you,
And I was like, hey, I just came to see the house. Are you having a lot of traffic today? Oh, no, it's been pretty slow. Oh, and I'm thinking in my mind, well, even more so to get up because now I'm the one person who's a live body that's come in. Didn't happen. So I, can I look around? Yeah, absolutely. Oh, there's a flyer over on the table. Your level of standard is not that high. We had a conversation later that day where I did introduce myself. But at the end of the day, not just with our company, but with other companies, we're in a really laid back market.
yeah. But laid back doesn't mean you don't care.
Exactly.
If laid back does not mean you don't give a damn.
Well,
Get up and greet people.
Exactly.
What are you kidding?
I know. So if any of you haven't taken Lee Potts' class for open houses, it's excellent. And he talks about preparation and pre-work for an open house and how to conduct yourself in an open house and what your goals are for the open house. And that it's stage time, you're on stage. That's when your premium time is for people coming in. I encourage you to take that. Budget model. You want to make sure you lead with revenue, play red light, green light, and stick to a budget. So you have to have a budget. So that's covered in the MREA book. And I recommend you set up your budget according to the chart of accounts where you're actually categorizing your expenses so you know. But, we say play red light, green light. Red light, I didn't have a closing this month. Should I go and invest $5,000 in a new lead generation tool? No. I had a closing this month, I made $25,000. Should I go spend $5,000 on a lead generation tool? Maybe not. What's your budget percentage? How much of your budget? If you're spending 20% of your income on marketing and 5 of that 20 is tools, would you spend $5,000? No. So you want to make sure you have something to make decisions with. That's why you have a budget. That's why you have a chart of accounts where you're categorizing your income and expenses. It also is telling you where your income is coming from. If I had 12 closings in a year, and I go back and I look and 9 of them came from open houses, hey, I do open houses really well, I should spend more time in open houses this month, right? If I go back and I only had 1 from open houses, maybe open houses isn't my strength and I should take some more education, practice some more, and maybe attend an open house where someone does it really well, like Lee Potts, before I spend a lot more time on open houses. So it helps you make those decisions. And the last one, organizational model. You need to know to hire administrative help only when you are doing everything you can on your own. And then your first hire is an admin person. And I tell people, don't feel like you have to hire a full-time admin. Your first hire could be an admin that you hire 3 hours a day, 3 days a week. Who's a great candidate for that? A stay-at-home mom whose kids are in preschool, kindergarten, first grade, the primary grades who can only work 9 to 1. Maybe you hire them 3 hours a day, 3 days a week to start, and you grow them into a part-time from 9 hours to 12 hours to 15 hours to 18 hours. They're still part-time. You don't have to provide benefits, okay? So that's a way to leverage and get started. So I tell someone, pay a decent wage, pay at least $15 an hour. That is the proposed rates to raise the minimum wage to. So if I hire someone for 9 hours a week at $15 an hour, it's like what, $135 a week, times 4 weeks in a month, it's about $500 a month. If I had that 9 hours a week of admin support, could I make one sale? And whatever that sale is, exponentially is gonna be more than that $500 you invested in a month. If I had a big closing, maybe you have a $20,000 commission, could I commit to hire a part-time admin 3 hours a week, 3 days a week for the next 90 days? Out of that $20,000, I have the cash in my hand that's leading with revenue, green light. I'm gonna invest that in my business. I bet you could pick up at least one listing a month in that 90-day period by having that 9 hours help. Even if they did nothing more than put people in your database, call people in your database, field inquiries on your listings, help prep your marketing. 9 hours is a lot of time when you have to fill 9 hours. When you have to think, I have to fill this person to do 9 hours worth of stuff, it's a lot of time. They get a lot done. You could also hire a high school student after school to do that, who would be wowed at $15 an hour. College student, stay-at-home mom. These are all target classes that can do this work and do the kind of stuff you're talking about. That, when you're doing everything you can and you layer that in at $500 a month, I mean, even if you sold something for $300,000, you're gonna make $7,500, $7,000 if you have a split still. And you're gonna invest $1,500 for the next 90 days, it will come back to you. So don't lead from fear. You wanna hire talent, so you wanna make sure you're screening and hiring the right person, and you wanna make sure you train them, invest in them like we're investing in you, because they're gonna be your support. They're gonna be the people who grow your business. They're gonna be the face of your business. If you hire an admin and you're out on a listing, and I have a team I work with, my team, which should be in your listing presentation, this is the lender I use, this is the title rep I use, here's my admin person I use, here's my transaction coordinator. Now you have a team of 5, and you've only hired one person 3 hours a day, 3 days a week. The rest of these people are part of your team. Put them in your listing presentation. I'm not one person, I have a team. Like that, you have a team, okay? Leverage. Be intentional through planning and leverage through people and tools. Okay, you want to revisit your goals. In Power Session 1, Ignite Your Business, you set a goal for your annual number of closed contracts based on the annual income you desired. And you can break down your annual goals, monthly, weekly, even daily, and measure your progress towards those goals. At this time, you may be ready to increase your goal. I don't know if any of you have reflected and want to increase them. You can also use what's called the GCI calculator, which is gross commission income. We use a lot of acronyms, and we don't explain what those mean. So every time I hit one, I'm trying to tell you what that means. GCI, gross commission income. It's a tool that's online that if you go into mykw.kw.com, and in the search button, search GCI calculator, it will take you through an exercise where you enter the information on this page, and it'll break down exactly all of these metrics for you. How many appointments you need a week and then based on your conversion rate in appointments, how many signed agreements you'll get based on your fallout rate, how many of those contracts will actually close, and your average commission, and you can actually calculate, if I want $300,000 in income, this is what I need based on these metrics. I always tell everyone, start with the average commission sale for your market, and if you know I'm not meeting average, then reduce it or cut it in half. But work with something that's real use numbers that are real for a reason. You want to self-reflect at the end of the day. You want to evaluate your wins and your opportunities. So take a few minutes and write down the answers to these questions on page 21 about your wins and opportunities. We're going to take like 3 minutes to do this. You don't have to get them all done. If you only have like one you want to do, pick one.
Say this is, I'm on mykw.kw.com.
It is the GCI calculator.
Right.
So if you go into the search function here and type in capital G, capital C, capital I, and then
okay.
calculator. And hit search. Again, it's not coming up. Okay, go back. Go resources. Okay, hold on. I just want to look at the list. So those are your online 411 tools
Yeah.
there, and your training tracker. Go back to the list of resources. That took you to connect. Just hover over resources without clicking on it. Profit share goals. Go to hover with technology. Let me look for it if I look for you. It's within, not within Connect, I don't believe. Yeah, that's where you searched before, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let me find it for you as soon as we're done. You could even Google, KW or Keller Williams GCI calculator, and it might come up. But I don't think we wanna go into, the Connect portion. CGI calculator. Go ahead and click on that. It's not the same thing, but I wonder if that tool is in there. That's the pipeline tool, so click on that. That might connect you to the calculator. No, okay, let me find it for you. It's gonna be in, they're pulling it out of Connect, so I'm gonna have to find it for you. Make a note. I should have the post that site marked before I teach, so I can just read it right out. So Bob, I will find it for you today and email it to you.
Wait a minute, here it is.
Did you find it?
Well,
There's usually like 3 components. It's the calculator and then it's the pipeline tool.
this.
That's CGI, not the same thing.
Oh,
It is a goal setting calculator. Hold on here, go back for a second. Set your goals with the CGI. No, it's a different calculator. So that is one tool, but that's not the tool we're talking about, ironically. Okay. So, let's talk about, each person give me one question they answered and what their response was. So we'll start in the back this time with you, Shayla.
Okay, what wins have you experienced in the last 4 weeks? I'm just gonna say the daily 10-4.
Awesome.
Every single instructor, just baseline said, that's all you need to do for success.
Yeah.
And kept it simple and clear as day, and kept me excited about that.
Great.
Yeah.
And it's the truth. It's authentic, and that's what's so great, is everyone's on the same page.
Yeah, cause we're coming in and it's like a foreign language, I said that a million times, but to hear just the 4 things.
That's
I took
it.
a deep breath and I was like, I can do this.
Everything else flows from that.
Yeah.
So if you just do that, you're great. Charisse.
So number 2, what opportunities for improvement have you encountered? So I have.
I'm sorry I said your name wrong. It's Cherish. I apologize.
It's okay. So number 2, what
Okay.
opportunities for improvement have you encountered?
All right.
I showed about 6 properties in January, and I think just the preparation, knowing what's in the area and even outside. So my client, I live in Wailuku, so I know like the Waiahu area very well.
Awesome.
Or try to, but I have buyers, for example, on Friday who are only looking in Kahului. They want a certain amount of square footage, and they're like, no, Kahului is it, whatever. Then I get a call the next day, and they're like, so we want to see this one in Wailuku. And so just that, be one step ahead of your clients all the time, or 2 steps or 3 steps. Just have that, like, okay, this is what's in the area, this is what's here.
And that's great information that you share, because one of the things that I do is, you have your client, I only want Kahului.
Yeah.
Okay. So I show them this is what we have in Kahului, and we go look at everything in Kahului, but I've also pulled something in Wailuku or South Maui or upcountry that's farther or in a different area, but I'm like, but this meets all your criteria, but it's not in Kahului.
Mm-hmm.
You're 12 minutes away from where we're standing. Do you want to consider this?
Right.
Many times they'll say yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't really know what they want. I love the buyer. I'll know what I want when I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm open to every opportunity. It might be a condo, it might be a 3-bedroom condo, it might be a studio, it might be a great little cottage somewhere. People move to Maui with the concept they're gonna get the little cottage on the beach.
Yeah.
I'm like, that picture in House Beautiful doesn't exist on Maui. We don't have a shoreline of little cottages even behind big homes.
sold them all last week, you should have been here.
They're like, oh, well, we just,
Missed
we don't need much, just 1,000 square foot cottage on the beach. And I'm like, there are no cottages on the beach. So, and then what? Then their dreams are shattered because they saw this in the magazine and this is what they want. And I had one who sent it to me, and it was Maui, and I was like, well, let me figure out where this is. It was in Hana. So I'm like, well, we can get that for $2 million in Hana, because they didn't tell you the price, they just show you the lifestyle you have. They're going out every morning and picking mangoes and having fresh mangoes for breakfast. And I'm like, you can do some of those things in other parts of the area, not living oceanfront. We can plant those in your garden. Mango trees take about 7 years to start to mature. What's your hold time on this property? You know, if that's important to you, and some people really want to be able to do that, well, then we need to be looking for a mature property that has established mango trees. And that'll be in your remarks, you know, and so
There's one in McKenna.
You just-
I've got one for you.
tweak, probably out of their budget.
Yeah.
So good, great feedback. Be open, be a step ahead, and know your inventory. Not to be able to only speak to, what's the worst thing when you're going through a house and a realtor's like this reading the piece of paper?
Right.
Well, this is a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath house with carpet downstairs. You know, they're looking at things as they're reading it. That's not serving your client. Serving your client is going to the property before you show it, if you can, and previewing it. Knowing how you're gonna get in and get out. Where is the lockbox? Is it on the hose bib? Well, the hose bib might not be by the front door. It might be around the back side or on the side yard. Knowing those details so that when you bring your client, it's a very smooth, comfortable interaction. Being able to speak to the property without reading the paper, you know? Not always can I get to a property to preview it before showing, that I will study the listing and I will then go out and do the showings, but I gotta tell you, they don't go nearly as smoothly as if you've been there before. Also, you walk into situations and sometimes there's problems with the property. I have a commercial listing across the way. I do a lot of commercial, I lead our commercial team, and I have the listing on this building, my sign is out front. And I had a client go in one of my commercial condos for sale this week and said, yeah, the ceiling's collapsed, there's water everywhere. We hadn't been in there in a few weeks, and they had a leak from upstairs. And the ceiling had saturated and collapsed, and there was crap everywhere. So fortunately, we were able to get a hold of the owner, but had I gone and previewed the unit just to check before I sent them over to use the lockbox to show the unit that day when I wasn't available, which I rarely do, I would have known the ceiling had collapsed. I could have canceled that showing before the client walked in going, oh, this condo may not be well maintained. It was a freak thing that happened. Stuff happens, you know? Or you go to show a property where someone's broken in and now living in the property. That happens on Maui, you know? Or you're going by yourself to check on the property and someone's now broken in and living in the property. Don't ever go on a property by yourself if you think someone's there. You know, call the police, call another agent, call a big agent like Bob, who's a man and can stand there with you while the police come.
What are you doing in here?
Thank you.
That kind of shit.
Or even just nicely, please leave. We won't call the police if you just leave.
Yeah.
You know, and many times they'll leave. Doesn't happen a lot, but I've walked into a property and learned the hard way not to put yourself in that situation. Okay, so remember safety first. It's a property. Anything they've damaged can be repaired. You are precious and cannot be repaired. You know, think safety. Okay, Marcus, we're gonna go to you and then Malia.
What kind of leads are you getting? I'm getting buyers, first-time home buyers a lot. They're high-quality leads because they really like me, and they
Great.
seem to. A lot of people look to me for answers for other stuff besides just real estate, so they tend to trust me.
Okay.
But because they're first-time home buyers and don't even know where they're at, it seems like the timeline is a lot longer.
Okay.
And so yeah, that's just basically what I'm looking at right now. Usually pretty quick to get an appointment after a phone call or contact.
Okay. Great. Malia?
So I'm gonna go over my first question, or the first question. I think that consistently coming to these Ignite classes
Yes.
have really sparked a lot of like motivation, and I mean, I think I've got so much done in the last, 4
Couple
weeks
weeks.
that I have. I mean, I signed on with Keller Williams the end of September.
Okay.
And it was kind of like, I mean, I have a small child that was like lollygagging, and I think that coming to these classes are just, everybody's like good energy and motivating, and
Yeah.
you know, it makes you want to just
I tell
keep moving
people,
forward.
get it together.
Mhm.
Like if you've come over and you're just kind of floating along, you're not fully plugging in and engaged,
Mhm.
come to Ignite. We opened Ignite to every agent in the company. So even though you've gone through it, if you wanna go to Ignite, the next series, it's brand new. Come back. It's in end of February it starts, when we get back from family reunion. They just rewrote the entire Ignite class. And it's a brand new series, completely different from what you just did.
Wow.
So you'll get added content. And like I said, these classes are just your investment of time. There's no cost to you. It's covered in your $100 a month monthly office fees, with your copies and everything else. So use this. It's free. It's like free coaching. I'm like, where do you get, top agents who are going to volunteer their time to support you and to give you, I've only been with you 2 hours today, but I've probably given you 8 or 10 of my top little tips and tricks and things that cost no money. Because when I started, I was 23 years old and I bootstrapped my way into real estate. I had a child, I was a single mom, and my husband had passed away, and I was like, how am I gonna stay in Maui? I'm 23 with no skills. I didn't go to college at the time. And I'm like, I'm gonna sell real estate. That was my quickest way to big drops of money. And I just started peddling, just started working. So I have the longest list of what things you can do that cost zero or very little money. And I bootstrapped it. And I started in a down market. I started in August of 1990, and the market was down and heading farther down. And I have survived 3 down markets since then. And you can do it. I sold more real estate in the down markets than I did in up markets, and I just continued to escalate. When it was a down market in the mid-90s, I got my SFR designation, which is short sale and foreclosure resource, and I did short sales and foreclosures, and that's all I did with first-time home buyers. Have I got a deal for you? I talked to everyone. Do you own? You need to own. This is the best time to buy. Let me show you. We had Kihei Village units selling for $60,000, mid-90s. And we had tons of them. Like, you had 20 at a time you could choose from. There were so many. 07, 08 was a down market. It was a hard time to live through real estate here on Maui. It's doable. I re-upped my short sale and foreclosure resource, and I became a listing agent for Fannie Mae and the lenders who had foreclosures coming in. And then I re-tapped my database, went back to my first-time buyers who bought in the prior down market. This is a great time to invest. You're established, you've got equity now, let's invest in another unit. I mean, you just gotta find what's your focus, what's your one thing gonna be, and it'll sustain you through the markets, yes.
Last week, Leslie Akers spoke at the central office, and something that she said that I thought was really interesting, I did not realize, and Bob, you were there too. She said, anybody, that Ignite isn't just for new agents, it's for people closing less than 16 deals.
Any agent who hasn't done 16 deals in a year.
Yeah.
And we have, agents that do $5 million a year haven't sold 16 deals in a year.
Yeah.
She also said focus on units, not volume. Because usually you set your goals, I want to sell 5 million, I want to sell 10 million. Focus on units, and you will exponentially do more volume. It just happens. All great advice. And Bob, what's the one question you got?
Well, I wrote something down for every one of them, but the important one for me is number 5. What will you do differently going forward? And for me, that's time blocking and following a schedule and following a system.
Love that.
That's what I had not been doing, and that's, like I said, that's what this is. That's my big Achilles heel, is doing that.
Okay. I don't know how you all are in your schedules. I'm gonna go till 12:15 today. If you need to leave, go ahead and excuse yourself. We have a little celebration for you at 12:15. So if you're able to stay, please stay. Because it's the end of your Ignite series. But I encourage you all to come back and take Ignite again. If not, the first time it's offered pretty soon after that. Can you all stay till 12:15, or do you need to leave? Okay, great. So let's go on to page 22, Know Your Numbers. You have 4 cumulative weeks of tracking your activity and results. You have an accurate trail of your critical business numbers, and now you can calculate conversion rates. You wanna pay attention to your numbers, and it talks about calculating your conversion rate. We're not gonna do that in class today, but on page 23, it gives you the form, how to take your numbers from my tracker and enter the data to calculate your conversion rate, okay? So, you're taking that number, you're entering the number of appointments you set, and you're dividing your appointments by the number of connections, and that's telling you what your conversion rate is. If you talk to 10 people and you get 3 appointments, that's a 30% conversion rate. That's all it is, and you can do that on your own time. Other conversion rates on page 25 you can calculate would be appointments to signed contracts, signed agreements to contracts, and contracts to closing. Same math. If you have 10 contracts and you close 9 of them, you have a 90% conversion rate. When you're using that GCI tool bomb, one of the numbers you plug in is conversion rate, and their example number to use is 75%. But if you calculate your own numbers, you might be at a higher rate. You might say I'm at 85%. So plug in 85% because everything you're looking at, you don't want to look at the standard normal unless you're starting with no data. If you have no data, start with that. But as you create data of your own, start to plug your own numbers in. All right. So this is a commitment to your dreams and goals, page 26, commit to action. And you should go through and look at this list. You don't have to do it now, but maybe this evening.